Okay everyone, so let's now go and try to solve the coding challenge that I've given you as your client, and I'm hoping that you were able to solve this on your own and you were able to apply some of the things that you have so far learned in our previous lessons. So let's try to go and apply the requirements that I gave you as your client. And I can see here that we have section 4 tables here. I also want to change that to section 5 interactive content. So let's go and try to apply that in our project. So let me go and open our document here, and let me just go and change the title first. So let's go change this to section 5 interactive contents. Now going back to our header section, let's go and try to first format this and try to remove some of the spaces that we have here. So at least there won't be too much spaces here for each of the lines. Let's say that. Let me just go and try to arrange this first. So at least the header section here will be properly nested, and we know that the header container contains the two div elements that contains the navigation and the image element. So we can now go and target the class header container, the class header nav, and the class header logo box. So we can target these classes specifically for applying the necessary styling using CSS so that we can reposition the navigation and the image that we have here inside of our browser. So what I want to do here first is to go and target the header container here, and then go to the upper section here. So we do have the header container. Now what I want to do here inside of the header container is to give it a position value of relative and a height of, let's say, 10 viewport height. So let's go back to our browser here. Let's see what will happen. Okay, so we can see now that the container is now a lot smaller, occupying a much smaller space inside of our browser. And we have here the navigation inside of it, and we want to align this on the right side of the screen. So let's go back to our code editor here, and then let's go and target the header logo box and position property. Let's give it a value of absolute. I'm sure you remember the CSS positioning property lessons that we've had in lesson 42, 43, 44, and 45, and that is the method that I'll be using in this coding challenge. Now let's go and try to give it a top property of 1%, and then let's go back to our browser here and see what will happen. So you would see now that it's relative to the parent container. I'm sure you already have an idea on how we can move this to the right side here, because we have a position property absolute. We can now use the left property and give it a value of at least, let's say, 90%. Now let's go and try to apply that here. Let me go and type here left 90%. Let's see what will happen on our browser. And there you go. We were able to position our owl image here on the right side of our browser. Okay, so let's just go and apply some final tweaks here. I just want to resize the image here so that it won't be too big. So let's go and try to go back to our code editor here, and let's give our image element here a class, so that it will be easy for us to identify. Here you will see that the naming convention that I'm using here will be allowing me to know that the header section has a header container by means of using the block header class name here, and it's easy for me to look into the header element here because I'm identifying it specifically based from the element here. So we have the div container, we have the div nav that will be containing the navigation elements, and we have here the div logo box and the image that is inside of the header. Okay, that's the reason why I'm calling it header container, header nav, header logo box, header image. Now let's go and select the header image here. Let's go back to our CSS styling here, header image, and I would want to have the height 60 pixels and width of 60 pixels. Now let's go see on our browser here how it looks like. Okay, so there it is. Now let's try to go and move this down a little bit in the middle, and I'm sure you already know how to do this. So let's go and try to maximize the use of the top property here and give it a value of 20%. Let's see how that will look like on our browser here. Okay, so we were able to reposition our image here in line with our navigation. So now I would want to just go and remove the background colors. So let's go back to our code editor here and let's comment out the green background color and the purple background color here. Let's go back to our browser and then refresh it. So we now have our owl image here on the right side of the browser. So don't worry too much, guys, if you did not use the same method as I did. No problem. This is just the method that I wanted to use for now. So congratulations, we were able to solve this coding challenge on how to position our image on the right side of the browser. So see you on our next lesson.